Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Football Focus SG podcast with myself, Faiz, Harun Azianafi, Mr. JB, and a returning guest, newly named Mamu B. Welcome back to our podcast. How are you doing today? All
Yeah,
good?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Nice, nice. So
Yes.
maybe you can share with us a bit like the sudden change of name because previously I'm sure there are some viewers who may have seen or heard may have known your name by a different name. So what's the sudden change of this name to Mamubi all of a sudden?
Okay. Actually, the name is actually endearing name lah. Actually, given to me by one of my nephew. So all the kiddos in the family usually call me Mamu Bubble.
Mamu
So
Mamu.
so Mamu Bubble. Mamu means uncle. So uncle Bubble lah. So because they cannot pronounce my name, so they always call me Mamu Bubble. So in short, for now let's call me Mamu B.
Yeah, Mamubi. Okay lah, that's very that's a very creative and interesting way lah of a story because I don't think I really come across anyone call me that also lah. But I don't know, Harun Aziz, do you have a nickname when you were in football times? Do you have your own nickname when you're there? Did someone give you a nickname?
Nah, I don't think so. I think for me during my playing days and even now while coaching, I go by simple terms Nas or my family name G, as simple as that.
Yeah.
So people either call me Coach Nas or Coach G nowadays.
Nice, nice. Mr. JB, what about you? I'm sure during your playing days as well, in the heyday of secondary school, onwards to maybe poly, college, whichever they play. Anyone give you a nickname?
In terms of my football skills or just general nickname? General nickname is too many to name.
I mean,
Some of it,
football related. Like whenever you play football,
yeah.
people give you that nickname because you're kind of like that or whatever, you know.
No, I think if I remember, I think back in the day when I used to play, I recall one of these, the name they call me, I think they call me Black Mamba. So I was like, Black Mamba is like what? Then after that, I realized that it's actually Kobe's nickname. So I don't know who got it first because if I got it first, I think, then I'm given the honor. So yeah.
So you're actually trying to say you are claiming it first, lah, right? Other than Kobe.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Just to let you guys know, for today's episode, we're actually gonna focus more on the upcoming tournament that's gonna affect us fans, of course, in Singapore, and that is the AFF Suzuki Cup, which happening in the next few days. And we're just gonna take a look at the finalize of the squad of the 26 men in Singapore, and we're gonna see how we're gonna rate them. So my first question, just basic question to all. Gonna start with Mamu B first. Do you happen to see the squad, and what's your first reaction? Are you impressed by it or no?
Actually, I'm quite impressed because the champion of SPL players are mostly there from
Yeah,
Lion City Sailors, right?
Lion City Sail is
So I
mostly there.
can, yeah, mostly all of them are the majority of them from Lion City Sailors.
Yeah.
Then we know that they actually went to Dubai, right? And didn't
Yeah.
do that well. Yeah. So
A bit of a
let's
mixed
hope
feel.
for the best, lah. As always with the national team,
A love-hate
especially
relationship with the team as well.
yeah, because the team is just like uh, every time it's like a new formally team, a new players coming in, all those things.
Yeah.
Then all the so-called the senior players are no longer around, like by
Yeah.
Haki, all those Daniel Bennett, all those players.
Yeah.
So
The usual
literally
household
now,
names that what we hear over the years.
yeah. So literally now it's more of a new team.
Yeah.
Literally like a new team, except for a few that is still there, like Haris Harun, all those players. So other than that, we have also some the three brothers.
Yes.
There's something there is something to look out for, something that is very new in local football.
It is. It
The
is. I
fun.
mean, it's been a while since we actually see Fundis in action, let alone all three. So this is like the first of, well, what could be many more tournaments to come, especially for all the Fundis fans out there and the just to cheer on the Fandi kids, the trios of them. Gonna ask Mr. JB real quick. Were you impressed also with the squad? And also like what Mamu B said earlier, there are a lot of LCS players. Do you feel that, this is something like similar to recurring case where back then they have Lions 12 and they use all the Lions 12 squad? Are you going to see this kind of pattern happening, or are there going to be more diverse and mix of different club and players in the future?
Yeah, I feel, my personal take, just to answer your first question, I think looking at the squad, some of it is pretty straightforward, no surprises there. Lion City Sailors, the champions, right? So you would expect the main bulk of the players to be there. But of course, looking ahead on the future, right? I mean, if you look at squads from our neighboring countries, even Malaysia, you're saying that the Malaysian national team also is made up of, JDTs and, because they are the champions and everything else.
Yeah.
But on a personal note, as a fan, I feel like everyone in the league deserves a chance. Especially if you're a local player. And if you ask, I think 99% or probably 90 or more, 99.9% of the players, maybe Harun Nazri can attest to this. I believe club football is one level, but to represent your country is another level. So I believe that everybody in the SPL playing professionally would want to represent the country one day. So of course, at the end of the day, we all know one tournament can only fit in 23, 24, 25 men. So yes, it's challenging, of course, but I have to agree with Mamu B as well. I think this team looks pretty refreshed, as compared to the usual household name that we have been with. So yeah, I feel the future is looking bright.
Yeah. All right. Gonna go to Harun Nazri. Same thing. The first question, are you impressed or not? Followed by any surprise inclusion to you in the squad? Now, the main thing that everyone's talking about, especially with this squad, it's, for some reason, we need 4 goalkeepers. What's your thought about that? Like, can you maybe share with us, like, is the fans, what the fans trying to say is that, maybe you should given that spot to an outfield player, who could actually play, because having 4 keepers might be a little bit too much, right? What do you think? You can share with us.
All right. So to answer your first question, am I impressed with the players that were called up? I think I wouldn't use the word impressed. I think it's what all Singaporean football fans would have expected. Relatively, the squad has been unchanged for quite some time. We're seeing regular names appear every now and most of the times. But what I'm happy to see is the inclusion of, I think, a lot of young players this time around. I would say, before I answer your question about having 4 goalkeepers, I think if we take a look at the selection as a whole, we brought 28 players as a whole to a tournament. And I think I mentioned it to you guys as well. Are all these 28 players going to play? I don't think so. So I maybe at the back of Coach Tatsuma's mind is to give some of these players the experience of going through a tournament with the national team. I can, from what I observe or from my own thinking, I think that's the only way. That's the only rationale that I can come up with. The fact that he brought 4 goalkeepers with him. He have Hassan Sani, Izwan, Zarfan, and Shazwan. I think out of the 4 goalkeepers, there are only 2 are possible of playing, either Hassan or Izwan. So, like I said, the way I look at it, it's more giving most of the players experience to be part of the national team going into a tournament. So yeah.
Okay. Also, just a bit of a preview of what's going on with the AFF and all the news that are happening, which is, basically, of course, due to COVID, there's a lot of restrictions. So fans are, also restricted of coming in. There are rules that are not allowed. So one particular that's going on around right now in the news, and that is like, apparently they're not allowed to bring musical equipment or sets, some drum sets, whatever, which caused, for some reason, some debacle going on. And like the most popular, or I guess fan group, which is Singa Brigade, planning to maybe boycott of turning up to the event due to not being able to bring all this, due to the COVID restrictions. So now we all know fans plays a big part in every tournament, in every matches. But with this kind of COVID situation, and this is like the first tournament that's gonna happen in that's affecting in Southeast Asia, how much difference could this make, especially for Singapore team like us? Mamubi, like you can share with us, like back then fans are probably very rowdy, very vocal in everything, but now it's more controlled. Are the players actually gonna excel more, or is it not really?
Actually, the fans are actually the 12 members of the team.
Yeah,
So we know that with fans, then the player will usually be more motivated and more driven. So if the fans are actually very vocal, I mean, back then in the 80s, when we are in the Malaysia Cup, yeah, the fans are there. But mostly it's not like we got used to the English game where the fans will be singing throughout the 90 minutes.
yeah,
So, but
yeah,
locally there's not much of singing. Every player have their own songs, all those things. Even the
yeah.
coaches have a song for them.
That's true.
So in Asian context, especially in Singapore, it's never that way.
Yeah,
We as local fans, we go to watch football literally just to watch football. We will sit down, be very disciplined, watch, shout, maybe curse a bit here and there.
yeah,
So locally we are more that way. But I know that now since the Lions 12 time there's this group of ardent fans that actually follows them around. So they will be singing all those things. So it is actually a change. We know that especially across the causeway, especially like JDT fans, all those things, they will be singing throughout 90 minutes. You can see the stadium really lit up, and the players are actually playing very well and motivated due to that. So locally it's a bit different, especially now with all these restrictions. I think uh, as we can see locally, there will be no changes lah. It's the same. Fans will just go there, enjoy the game. Especially now, there's no karipap, no drinks, no nothing.
yeah. I don't think we're
So
allowed to, right?
yeah, even you cannot even bring your own water bottle inside. So
Yeah, yeah. So we have to fast over there for 1.5 hours, and then we can.
for first 1.5 hour, or you will be forced to buy drinks there, which is
Yeah,
actually like you will be paying like one person can. We have been there before, so
yeah,
maybe one person can spend at least 10 more dollars or $15 more just to buy some chips and drink there. So I find it
yeah,
a bit ridiculous, but again, it's because of safety and all those things. So we are now very restricted. Like you go to watch football, it's as good as you are watching like a concert, orchestra concert, whereby you just sit down, watch, be disciplined, and leave. That's it.
yeah. That's
So the passion is no longer as much. And furthermore, in Singapore, we just sit down and do that.
yeah. I mean, that's the
So
sad reality. We know that the Singapore fans are, well, slowly declining in a way. Not just the fans, the football itself, basically the whole thing. I think we have discussed. I think I remember together with viewers on my movie, we were discussing
yeah,
about the FAS, what we could change and all, because slowly we can see how much difference it changed in the decade. But Harnas, I just want to ask you that about that situation earlier, because Lions, for us fans, we are always known to be the 12 men, just like every other club or country. So, with that being said, most of our SPL are played behind closed doors, and you've seen a couple of their matches and all. So, do you think that, uh, with little fans, lesser pressure on them in the tournament? What do you think?
I think not necessarily, because at the end of the day, the players are wearing the national. They're not literally wearing the national flag, but they are representing the country at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So no matter whether there are 10 fans in the stadium or 10,000 fans in the stadium, the pressure is still there. And now, knowingly, we all know that MediaCorp is going to broadcast the matches on TV as well.
Yeah.
So, sometimes even for me, I speak for myself. Sometimes I can say things, let's not waste time, let's not watch. But I will go on to my TV and watch the matches. At the end of the day, I'm a Singaporean. I love my country, and I will quietly support. So, to go back to your question again, look, like I said, even if it's 10 fans or it's 10,000 fans, there will still be pressure because at the end of the day, you're representing your country. You 28 players representing the whole country. You're representing the whole football ecosystem in the country. I think just by me saying that, I hope it doesn't add more pressure to the players. But you know, I think you know where I'm coming from. But
Yeah.
just to touch on the question that you gave Mamu earlier, um, initially I was quite upset that no musical instruments would be allowed in the stadiums and whatnot. But after a few days thinking about it, I think we as football fans, or especially us in this country, I think we have to be a little bit more grateful, if that's the word. At the end of the day, finally we are able to go out, watch matches. It didn't hit on me until today. Actually, with regards to the Suzuki Cup, when I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw the teams participating, training in our stadiums, Woodland Stadium, Yishun Stadium, then it dawned on me, dude, we have a lot of teams in our country. We have total of 10 teams, 10 representatives in our country playing in a tournament. Our country is actually hosting a tournament after so long. I
Yeah.
think we have to be a little bit grateful on that. And if we want to learn from anywhere about not having musical instruments and whatnot, we should take a look at the Japanese league. The Japanese league is currently doing that. I don't know whether they are still doing it right now, where fans are allowed in the stadium, fans are seated down, and you know what they do when they score a goal? They just do this while seated. They just sit and they clap politely. Of course, you will get one or two fans that will stand up, support, but
Yeah.
instantly they will be, I won't say they will be reminded, but after the euphoria dies down, they will sit back down and it's okay. And I bet you, if we go to the stadium and we watch the matches, if our countryman scores a goal, for sure there'll be, I wouldn't say thousand, for sure there will be people who will be getting off their seat to celebrate the goal.
Yeah.
How long do you think those people will stand for?
Nah.
After a while, they will sit down, calmly sit down, because they still remember at the back of their heads the things that we have to enforce that has been enforced. So yeah, it's unfortunate that the group is not allowed to bring the musical instruments to the stadium. But I think we'll have to look at it from the other side. Even if there's no musical instrument, I think we can still play a part in supporting our boys lah. So yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Mr. JB, just want to ask you. Well, like what Harnazi said earlier, there are some fans actually who support, but more quietly, basically at home, rather than physically being on the stadium. So, pretty much similar question to you. Like, the pressure will always be there. That's what Harnazi said. But for you, Mr. JB, I just want to ask that: are the boys prepared based on what you have seen, the friendlies and all everything? They have played somewhat behind closed doors and maybe little fans along the way throughout the SPL as well. Do you think they are ready for the tournament?
Wow, that's a very difficult question to ask me. Yeah, if they are ready for the,
Yeah, I
for
mean,
the for
like
the
on your
for the
personal
tournament.
perspective, when you see
For
them
me,
in the matches and all, the
okay,
friendlies.
I mean, let's be honest. The last time we actually saw the friendly was that Blair Witch project for some match that the camera like was just lagging, and
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
and if I recall correctly, that was like I think when they actually get together only 1 week together, training together or something
yeah,
like that. So
yeah,
obviously you can tell there's a bit of team chemistry issues and all these things, but so far, I think ever since our S League ended, right? I believe Coach Tatsuma actually get everybody together, and then they start to train together. So who knows? You
yeah,
know, at the end of the day, I think the only way to know if they are ready or not is to actually watch the tournament and see how ready or prepared they are. Because
Yeah.
I think Tyrone Nazri can attest to this, being a coach himself, that yes, you can prepare, it's just like sitting for exams, yeah. You can do all the 10-year series and everything else, but when it comes to the actual paper, or in this case football, when you face the actual opposition, sometimes your plan A, B, C, D, all is not going to work. But that's football for you. Sometimes, all it takes is just one chance, one goal. And, we've seen teams, or in this case, countries who have, consistently just win 1-0 all the way and progress. I think if I'm not wrong, I think it was Greece or something back in Euro or something like that. Yeah, they actually did that. And, it's fine. Because at the end of the day, football is like that. Some fans want beautiful football, some fans want straightforward football. But at the end of the day, in a tournament, especially a knockout one like this, for the group stage, it's straightforward. It's just 3 points. After that, it's a two-legged thingy, and then all you gotta do is just see out the game. So yes, I'm excited to see our Lions, especially after the training part lah. And just to go back on your first part about fans, yeah, just to touch on that part, because me being a fan myself, we need to understand that fans have, despite all of us are called football fans, there's actually categories to it, like for example, this Singa Brigade, right?
Yeah.
Although yes, I do consider them as part of the fans, but they are like a group of fans. And I'm not putting it across as a bad way. There's nothing wrong with that. It's something like, our neighboring countries, the ultras, they called it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see that at the end of the day, the one that's attending, for example, in this upcoming tournament, 10,000 people, right? You won't expect to see like 10,000 Singa Brigade to be there, right? Because like what
Of course.
Harun Nazri mentioned, there will be, people from different walks of life, you know what I'm saying? And there are people who won't be standing 24/7, jumping up and down, singing, or need the music and everything else. And I also have to agree with what Mamubi mentioned. We have to so-called look back at our roots, what we are good at. And honestly speaking, we are not like our European football counterparts in terms of their fan base, yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying this to diss off anyone, or you can't make any group. No, it's good. Go ahead, because sometimes it's something fresh, something new might be good, but you need to go back to the olden days and see. Sometimes it's the simplest things that work. Sometimes all you need is the voice. Sometimes all you need is just the presence. You don't need the drums. You don't need certain things sometimes, But yes, of course, sometimes it's good. And to be honest, I think most of us, and including you yourself, Ais, I think we've been to a few games, We've
Yeah.
been to a few games at the Hub, when Manchester United came, and then I think before that, when the Hub first opened, I think Juventus came. And we saw how the fans was like, isn't it? They
Yeah.
only celebrated when it was a goal, and then after that, it's almost like a library. Everybody would just take out their phones. They would just look at their phones. Some are,
Yeah. That's
some
true.
are,
That's true.
yeah. And you have to admit, some of them are obviously being forced. You can tell like the husband is the soccer fan, the wife no choice have to follow, and then it is what it is. So end of the day, fans are diverse, right? And like what Harun Nazri mentioned, sometimes the quietest fan doesn't mean they are totally ignorant or totally ignore of the tournament. They might be supporting at home. People have various reasons. So yes, of course, being the host nation, Singapore, of course you want to see the stadium fill up lah.
Make a good
And
impression of the tournament, I would say.
yep, of course. But looking at the current situation and everything else, sometimes when we tend to do comparison or perhaps have a certain expectations, that's where you will get disappointed. So for me personally, as a fan, if you really have the intention to go out and support your nation, just go do it. You know what I'm saying? In whatever shape or form, just comply, as per whatever guidelines that they have set. It is what it is, like what Mamubi touched on, the food and drinks and everything else. But it is what it is. If you're there to support, you're just there to support. You have to comply. And that's the thing. I'm just looking at it from a fan perspective. They are just a group. Yes, I have to admit they're bringing something new and everything else. And, they might be the loudest group in the entire stadium. But if you look back, sometimes the simplest thing, the Kalang wave and all these things, sometimes when the player sees that, they will get appreciative as well. So last I read about the report, I think there are some talks between them and FAS and everything else, and I hope that it ends well, whatever the result may be. I mean, we as the fans, please go out there to support if you can. If not, you can do it silently, watch the TV, cheer on the boys, and trust me, this tournament will be big, especially we are hosting it in these difficult times. Yeah, I have to agree with Nazi. We have to be grateful.
Yeah, and I think just to add on that, Faiz,
Yep.
we're not living in normal times right now. Things are not normal at the present moment.
True.
So with whatever that we have, Yeah, I don't want to keep emphasizing using the word grateful, but I think, just now, Mr. JB mentioned about, clapping the Kalang Roar, and I still remember the good old days, and I think Mamu can attest to this, the stomping of your feet on the
Yeah,
ground, and
Oh
yeah.
that sends shivers
shake.
to me. I still remember the old Kalang Stadium when everybody was stomping. You feel like the stadium is about to collapse, man. But
Yeah.
those are the kind of the adrenaline stuff that gets you going. So yeah, just yeah, we are not living in normal times. Let's adapt to this situation and support our boys, and not only support our boys, let's try to support the tournament as a whole, and let's be good and gracious host to whichever guest is coming to our country.
Yeah, I have to agree. And yes, like what Nazi mentioned, I think stomping of the feet, you can do it with social distancing and everything else. You don't
Yeah.
even need to get up. You just need to be staying on the seat and just, just start banging your knees, and everybody will make that sound. You don't need drums. You know.
You know what? I was actually thinking we could be the first country to do a Kalang Wave social distance style. I really think we might. We might. There might be
Why not? Why not?
a
Hey,
wave, but you'd see a pause in between because there's empty seats, and then there's someone random person stand up and they continue and all. Or we can do the silent celebration like what Harunazi mentioned earlier in Japan. Yeah, yeah. Uh, but again, I think thank you guys. I think pretty much all three of y'all sum it up really, really good. I think I'm more than satisfied to hear the answers from you guys. But of course, for those who are listening right now and watching on YouTube or listening by Spotify, let us know as well what you guys think about this situation, and let's keep on cheering our boys. So now we're actually gonna move on to play a little bit of prediction game of the Suzuki Cup, where we're actually gonna take a look at each individual countries and rank them from first position to the last and see who's gonna progress to the next round. So I'm gonna start with Harunazri first for this, because I'm sorry, you're the coach, you're lay coach, lay professor. So we're gonna start with you first. But I'm actually gonna start with you on Group B first. I'm gonna leave Group A slightly later, save best for the last because it's our country. But we're gonna take a look at Group B first, which we have. Just gonna remind everyone. We have Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Vietnam. Now, Harunazi, give me your 1 to 5.
All right, sure. From 1 to 5, I think Group B, straight out of the box, I'm gonna go with Vietnam topping the group, and then in second place, I'm gonna go with Indonesia. So that makes it Vietnam and Indonesia qualifying for the semifinals. Third place, I'm gonna go with Laos
Laos.
because we have a little bit of Singaporean flavor there. And
Yeah,
then I'm gonna
definitely.
go with Malaysia, and then to finish off the group, I'm gonna go with Cambodia. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. Is
Yeah.
there a reason why you actually put that? Like, why do you put Indonesia to be above the rest? Is it based on squad or?
All right. So first place, I put Vietnam because I think they are the reigning champions of the
Yeah, the
Suzuki
reigning
Cup,
champion. It's very
and
straightforward there.
and I think out of all the participating teams, they are ranked the highest. I might be wrong. I apologize for that, but I think they are.
Yeah, they are.
And based on the performances that they've had at the highest level of football in the Asian region, I think that's why I place them up there. They have a solid squad. They have a solid group of youngsters. So yeah, that's why I put them on the top. Indonesia, Indonesia, I've watched them. I've been a keen follower of their group. They do not have as many experienced players as they would like, I feel, but the group of coaches there have been there for quite some time. I think they have been there for about 2 years or more, and they've worked with the players keenly. They have some good prospects coming up. Their captain Ivan Dimas, I think Ivan Dimas played in the last edition as well, if I'm not wrong. And Indonesia have always been the side that managed to pull off surprises along the way. And I've been a keen admirer of the Indonesian national team for a very long time. And third place, I go with Laos.
Singapore
Nothing,
flavor. That's
nothing
what you said.
special about that. Singapore flavor. V. Sundramuti as the technical director, V. Selvaraj as the coach. Unfortunately, I don't think they're gonna progress any further than finishing third. But yeah, Malaysia, why I put them on top, on fourth place. I feel if I took a look at their uh, the number of players that they sent over here, the roster. I don't think they're as strong as the teams that were sent here in previous editions of the Suzuki Cup. It's a little bit of a mixed match, and surprise, surprise, this time round we do not have a whole chunk of JDT players in the team,
Yeah, it is.
and it's a mix, and you know, I'll say it as it is. The JDT players whom are there are not regular starters for the JDT first team. So hence I put it there. And I think they have not had a great preparation. They only just finished their Malaysia Cup competition. Yes, they managed to train in groups of 13 or 14, if I'm not wrong, with the rest of the players coming from the Malaysia Cup, two finalists. But yeah, if they do make it into the semifinals, I'll be very surprised. You never know. Willpower. Malaysians are very well known for that. And fifth place, I go with Cambodia. Yes, Keisuke Honda is there, but I don't think I don't want to put down anyone as a coach. But I think everyone knows him as the well-known football traveler kind of player. He's even now, I'm not too sure. I think in Lithuania, he's now playing in Lithuania, something like that.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I don't think I'm expecting much of Cambodia. But again, Suzuki Cup, anything can happen. Some surprises may be in store for us, but I think I'm fixed on Group B, the standing that I put out.
Nice, nice. Mamu B, over to you. Do you agree with Harnazi's 1 to 5, or do you have a set of your own? Share with us your first to fifth of Group B.
I think Vietnam, since they are the reigning champion, they should be the one we are looking out for, especially since they have a lot of new young players. And then especially Vietnam players, they play with their heart. That's one thing. We know that teams like Laos, Cambodia, they are almost the same like Vietnam, but they are not as technically gifted as the Vietnamese team. Yet again, they do play with their heart also. So Indonesia and Malaysia will have, they may face a bit of trouble with that. Because of these players are not technically gifted, but they play as a team. They will fight for every ball, all those things. And they may make silly mistakes as well. So Indonesia is like, and Malaysia are more technically gifted, maybe thanks to their proper league that they have in various countries. So I think Indonesia will be the second favorite to get through. So for myself, maybe Malaysia could be the surprise of the third to get through. I mean, in the standing.
Third position for Malaysia.
Third position for Malaysia, whereby maybe Malaysia, thanks to you guys also that I am more aware of Malaysian football. Following the Malaysia Cup, suddenly me and my son, we are watching Malaysia Cup on YouTube, all those things. So we are more aware of other than that, we are more aware of JDT. So now we know that there are such teams as KLCT or those teams, Malacca United, all of a sudden. So maybe they are rather organized, but to be working in a team, I'm not sure, since they just finished their league quite recently. So maybe Malaysia will be on the third one, and Laos and Cambodia will come. Either depends on their luck and how lucky they are against the smaller teams, or maybe against themselves, between both of them. So maybe the last two will be either Cambodia or Laos.
Okay, all right, Mr. JB. Over to you. Agree with our two fellow gentlemen with their standings? I mean, Mamubi has a slight change with Malaysia being on third, Harnazi putting Laos on third. And what about you?
Okay. I think in general, let's go real quickly. Vietnam defending champions. We all know how their form is. No surprises there, no changes for me. Vietnam will definitely be finishing the group. Else, it will be a very surprise if they finish anywhere below that. Yep. So expectations are running high, and I do believe they can deliver, looking at their current form and everything else. So no surprises there for Vietnam. Second, for me, I'll put Malaysia as a surprise package.
Ooh.
Yeah, yes, I have to admit that their league just ended and their Malaysia Cup just ended, and they just I think they just came over Singapore I think earlier today.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean preparation is key, right? So sometimes when you don't get the group together, especially after they finish, quite a how to say, quite a rushing tournament of the Malaysia Cup. I think they're playing like every 2-3 days, and then and to the point where they even have first leg, second leg. Oh, I tell you that one. So yeah, but again, I mean, I've just like what Mamubi mentioned, I've been following the Malaysia Cup recently, and two players came to mind actually. If not for these two players that was selected, I'm not sure if they were selected before, but one of them seems to be a late addition. So the two players that I want to highlight is Faisal Halem from Terengganu, the number 7 guy. He was the one that unfortunately got hit by, shall not mention who, but yeah, we all know that famous incident. Yeah, I do feel that he is such a live wire, man. That guy can run, he can dribble past players. He just comes out things out of nothing. He can cross. I do feel that he is the one to watch for the Malaysia squad. And of course, the second one that's recently in the news and people was wondering, will the coach actually bring him on? And that is Arif Aiman from JDT. I think he's also another standout guy, young guy. I think he's only 18 or 19. I think he's 19 years old.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, we've seen how he, just burst through to the scene down the flanks for JDT. So I do feel that because of these two players, and if the coach managed to somehow, make the team gel among these two, and and the striker deliver, I do feel that they can finish second. No issues from them on that. So that's my prediction. Malaysia will come in second, hopefully.
Okay.
Third, I would put Indonesia. Like what Harun Nazri mentioned as well, they are also another interesting group to watch. It's been a while, to be honest, since I've last catch them be in the national squad performing. But looking at the new faces coming out, they seem confident. They seem to be having, that vibe, that they are out there not just to, play games or just to fill up the spot, but they're out there to compete. And looking at how the neighboring countries are set up, right? Usually we look out for Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia as the three, so-called that we want to see them do better. But I do feel that I have this soft spot for those two players that I mentioned. That's why I put Malaysia top, and then Indonesia will come in third. But hey, just like Mamubi mentioned, second and third might be close. It depends on the results. If they get a couple of draws or anything like that, it might play a part. For four, for me is Laos. We do have our returning Singapore legends in the footballing scene returning, but I do see them as I really hope that they put out a good performance. Try to be that that extra, I would say, that extra itch on the other favorite teams. To just disrupt the table a little bit. To come out and play. So for me, Laos will finish probably fourth, and Cambodia will sit on fifth.
Wow. Okay. So I can see very interesting. I mean, based on my perspective right now, after hearing all three, is a mix between Indonesia, Malaysia, and Laos. I think you guys have been going up and down between these three. One thing's for sure. First is Vietnam between you three, and last is Cambodia between you three. So obviously, no one has a faith in Keisuke Honda's first tournament as a coach. So basically, gonna move on now to Group A, where of course our own beloved country, Singapore, will be there. However, it's not going to be an easy task because we also have not only Singapore, we have Myanmar, Philippines, Thailand, and Timor-Leste. Now, upon hearing this group, at first I was like, no offense. Basically, Timor-Leste and Myanmar, it's Singapore is a must-win for it. Okay, but Philippines and Thailand are the bogey teams that we're actually gonna fight, and there's only 2 spots. So now I'm gonna start with Mamu B first. Group A. Share with me your thought from first to fifth. Who's gonna be first? Who's gonna be last? What's your position?
Okay, the first time when I got to know about this group, the group A,
Yeah.
you can always call it the group of death. So
Yeah, it is. I
yeah,
think Myanmar
because,
isn't that bad as well, but it's yeah, like anything could happen, right? In Suzuki Cup, we've seen over the years, Myanmar has been in
yeah,
semi-finals before and final. So,
yeah.
what's gonna happen? Like, what do you think about this group?
Well, we can see the mainstay of the group is Thailand. Okay, so we know their qualities. So again, Thailand is they are equally like Vietnam style of play. All out. They will just they are very technically gifted. All those things. So
Yeah.
they have always been there.
Yeah.
So I think Thailand will always be at the top to me. Then I'm actually torn between my own country, Singapore, of course, and then we have the Philippines, whereby Philippines is because they have a lot of mixed parentage kind of players. Uh,
Yeah.
we have seen the goalkeeper from I think the goalkeeper from KL City. He's the goalkeeper of Philippines, and
Yeah.
then he played really well. Actually, that's the first time I saw him playing. So I was like, oh, he looks like David De Gea to me. So
Oh.
he saved a lot of sure goals, especially during the Malaysia Cup final. So I think I really hope that Singapore can at least go and do something better and get second spot. So it's between Philippines and Singapore for the second spot, whereby Myanmar could be the team like is playing with a hard type, similar to Cambodia and Laos. So they will be the one who will be running and running and running all these things. But maybe uh,
May not be
I think
enough.
may not be enough. But uh, Timor-Leste could spring a surprise
Mm.
because me and my son actually watched the under 23 AFC
Yeah.
tournament. I was really surprised by the way they play. They are very well organized. So if we will be to be taking the example of the under 23, how the under 23 plays. So if the senior player, the team playing similar to what the under 23 plays, this group A might be in for a surprise. So uh, Timor-Leste could be the surprise of the group. So whether they can
Oh,
go higher than that, I'm not very sure. So actually, Thailand will be the first one.
all right.
So it's a fight between Philippines and Singapore. So it's
Okay,
see
so there's no
how
confirmed spot for you, second or third Singapore.
yeah
We have no idea.
yeah. So it's between whether how Philippines beat
Controversial there.
Singapore.
Singapore might be out here.
Yeah, it could be a draw.
Yeah, true.
so so it's, and again, I think the goal difference will play a part in this
Yeah,
type of tournament,
definitely.
especially if a team got trashed like 5-0, 6-0, so the chances of you going up the table is higher.
Yeah.
So again, second spot is actually a tie between Singapore and Philippines. So Thailand still sticks at the top. So after that would be like Timor-Leste. I suppose Timor-Leste could be another surprise.
Nice,
So
nice. So would you
Myanmar,
see Timor-Leste to be fourth?
yeah, it could be
Ah,
fourth, or they could even go out as high as third. We
ooh.
shall see. Because they are actually unknown. We are actually they are unknown
Yeah,
because
yeah. I mean, there's not much information we have about them, but
yeah, actually they got in is because Brunei did not got into the tournament, right? It's
yeah,
because of
yeah.
because of
They won the playoff against Brunei.
yeah. So again, so they must be something. We know Brunei is not much of a team, but again, they deserve to be here. So I think we shall see whether they can get fourth. And Myanmar again an unknown team. So again, what I say is that in Group A, is between goal difference will make a lot of determination whether how high the team will go.
Yeah, okay. Well, Mamubi, I fully respect. I mean, I know our name is Football Focus SG. We may be biased to Singapore, but I fully respect that, you may think Singapore is out. This is what we love about, especially in this podcast, we want to be truthful to ourselves to know what we feel is right, what we see and what we believe in, and then we share our thoughts and opinions here. So now, Mr. JB, to you, Group A. Do you agree, Mamu B, that Thailand is guaranteed first and everything else has been, well, like what Mamu B said, anything could happen from second to fifth?
Yep. Wow. I mean, like what Mamubi says, spot on. This is like a group of death, especially our own country is inside as well. And it won't be easy, that's for
Yep.
sure. But I don't know. I mean, looking at the recent result of Thailand, I'm not too sure if they are the same Thailand that we've known so far. Because, I think as recent memory serves me correctly, I think Malaysia even defeated them 1-0 away. I think is in playing away, meaning it's at Thailand, and then
Yeah.
and yeah. So I'm not too sure how dominant will they be again, in this tournament. But who knows? I mean, they are still a very much a nation to be feared usually when you hear the name Thailand in football. But
Yeah.
I'm not too sure for them about this coming tournament, how they're gonna fare. So
Ooh.
for
So are
me,
you saying that Thailand's not gonna get first in your group?
yeah. I don't think Thailand will finish first. I'm
Ooh,
gonna I'm gonna put Philippines to finish first. I might be
Philippines.
wrong. Yep, that's
Okay.
right. I'm
All
torn
right.
between either Philippines or Singapore. It's gonna be tough. Although
So
I would
Thailand could possibly be out of the group stage, is what you're saying.
yep, that's
Wow.
exactly what I'm
The
saying. So for
five-time
me,
champion, he might be out. Respect
yep,
to Mr. JB. So continue.
that's right. Yep. So for me, my top two choices is either Philippines or my own country. Of course, I want Singapore to top the group. I think I'll be the happiest guy if they do. But looking at the teams, I mean the nations that are in the group, I think points might be dropped here and there. So a close 1-2 might be Philippines and Singapore. I think a close third would be Thailand. And then I think Myanmar and Timor Leste also might be a surprise because I heard, I'm not sure if it's true, but I think I saw in a report somewhere stating that Timor Leste players have been here ever since the under 23 tournament and have not been going back. So
Yeah. They have
yeah,
been
so
pretty much the first country to be here, other than the rest, of course,
yeah,
and
so
country.
yeah, so they do have the advantage of training together, getting to know each other. So like what Mamavi mentioned, yeah, they might be the surprise package. So yeah, fourth or fifth might be torn between Myanmar and Timor Leste.
Wow, wow. All right. Harun Nazri, well, we have Mamubi and Mr. JB unsure, still unsure. Like, could be first, could be second, could be fourth, could be fifth. Do you have a definitive position for your group A?
Yeah, I think mine I based it on common sense and based on previous edition of tournaments and also current, I wouldn't say standing, but current form. And also I look into the players that is in the squad. So Group A again, we have Singapore, Philippines, Myanmar, Thailand, Timor Leste. I have to agree with Mr. JB that earlier he mentioned Thailand haven't had a good run of results of late. But uh, the way I look at it, and they even have a new manager after their manager went AWOL,
Hmm.
Thailand. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they have a new manager in Mano Polking. And what's interesting to me, and I mentioned this before, usually the Thais they don't pay too much attention to the Suzuki Cup tournament because they would focus on the higher level competitions in the Asian
Yeah.
championships. But since that is already out of the way and things haven't been well, what's interesting to me is they have called up all their big guns for this competition. They have brought in the goalkeeper Kawin.
Yeah.
They've brought in Chanatip, who is going
A
to be the
lot of
champion.
legend names.
Correct. They've brought in Chanatip, who's going to be the captain of the squad. They've brought in Tiraton, both who are playing regularly in Japan.
Yeah.
And the bulk of the squad are experienced players who have played in the competition before and who have won the competition before. And most of the players that are called up are players who are regularly starting in the first 11 for their respective teams in the league. So they are not I feel there are no pushovers. Even so, based on the results, the past results that they have had recently, I'm gonna go with Thailand finishing top of the group.
Okay.
Just based on the strength of the squad that they have, the
Right.
experience that Chanatip and Tiraton plus Calvin brings to the squad. Second place, I'm gonna go with Singapore up front. Nothing to do
Nice.
because I'm a Singaporean and whatnot. I feel uh, um, I get I get some good vibes coming out from the Singaporean camp just by looking at. Of course, some will say, you take a look at Instagram and videos and you can get vibes. I think I'm speaking from a little bit of experience. When the camp is happy, when you see players smiling while working hard. There was a footage I saw, Nur Adam and a few other players. They were doing some passing, sprinting drills. My God, they were very, very fast. And these guys, if we are talking about, if I can look up the video and I can send to you guys later, I will do it. And if we talk about intensity in practice, these guys were going more than 100% from what
Yeah,
I saw in that clip.
most
So
definitely they are.
I'm going to go with Singapore finishing second in the group. Partly one, I think they have the depth in the squad to do that, and they have the talent, and we have experienced players who have played in the competition before as well. We have Safwan coming back, we have Irfan coming back. So and we have Haris, an experienced player. Hassan Sani is one who has been through the competition before. We have a lot of players. We have a mix of experience and young players as well. So they're gonna finish second. Third, I'm gonna go with Philippines. One fact to be known: Philippines has brought in a top striker. If I'm not wrong, he's the highest scoring striker in the AFC Cup competition. If I'm not wrong, for the previous AFC Cup tournament. If I'm not wrong, he's also I won't say a naturalized player, but something along that line. So
Mm.
Philippines to finish third. I'm gonna go with Timor Leste to finish fourth just because they've been in the country for a very long time, and Myanmar to finish at the end. I'm actually quite surprised that the Myanmar national team could even be here based on whatever is happening in the country. But football is football, politics aside. But I don't think they're gonna be any pushovers as well. They're gonna make it tough, but I don't think they have enough strength and depth in their squad. They have stars in the squad as well, but I don't think they have enough strength and power to overthrow the bigger names like Thailand, Singapore, and Philippines. So, yeah, those are my choices.
Awesome, awesome.